Welcome back.
Okay, finally. Okay, it popped up. It says we're live, but I didn't click anything. Is
We're
it
live? I see us live.
Yeah, but it only shows you. Why is it only showing you?
I think it should be back now. It just took a minute. It should show up.
There it is. Okay. Finally. Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. There was a few different things going on there, but it seems like everything's good now. From my stream, it still shows Andres, but we should both be here. Okay, there we are. It just refreshed. Yeah, it just refreshed for me. Okay, so it is I, Jesse, and the one and only Andres Restart.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to finally have a nice long-form conversation with you.
Yes, and it's only you and I this time, so we'll get used to when it was only we would make this joke when it was just Daniel and I, that it was like whenever there was like a third or fourth person on, like one of them would usually be the one, because we would always get off conversation, and they would we'd be like, they would be there with the whip just to like smack us to get us back on track, because we would always get lost in conversations. And I imagine you and I will do that same thing, because you're used to having long form conversations, like even if it's just you on your channel in your live streams with your chat. Yes. So the Geek Apprentice sadly cannot be here today, and we also planned on Amanda being here. Sadly, both of them can't come on, but it is me, Jesse, and Andres, who I guess I'll have to update the description, but everyone's well, I guess in this case just your links in the chat while we're discussing. But we're going to be talking about the new Tears of the Kingdom trailer. Well, I wouldn't really call it a trailer. It was like a gameplay segment that Aonuma played. Like, I have my thoughts that like I don't really think it was Aonuma, but who knows?
Up for debate.
Yeah. And then we're going to be talking about E3 being canceled, which is horrible news. Anything bad with E3s, I think, is bad for the game industry. And then any other Nintendo news that you may want to discuss, as well as before we get to the Q&A, before we end it, we have a 10-question trivia, Triforce trivia for everyone. So be prepared for that. And I see Zoe in the chat, who is very wonderful and been helping everyone out with translating the runes and everything. I don't know if you've been caught up in all of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
My interests have been piqued. Okay.
Yeah,
there's quite a few runes.
Yeah, the runes from Tears of the Kingdom, like that you see in everything, and I don't want to get into too many spoilers. I don't know if you've seen the.
I've seen everything.
You've seen everything. Okay, you and Miyamoto out getting breakfast every Tuesday.
every Tuesday, Miyamoto and I just sit down. Aonuma comes a little bit late. He has a.
It says we reconnected. I'm trying. Hello?
Hey.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, the Tears of the Kingdom presentation.
Right.
What were your thoughts on all of that?
Oh, man, that's a lot. I got a lot of thoughts.
I know that's a very big question.
I'm very interested to kind of analyze your high resolution footage, the upscaled version, because I
have a 10 gigabyte 4K version and a 40 gigabyte 8K version of the actual gameplay. I didn't put the part where Aonuma was talking and then where they're showing off the console and stuff like that. I didn't put that through the AI thing, but I do have just the gameplay.
The footage,
Yes, the important part. And like 4K is 10 gigabytes and 8K is 40 gigabytes. And I've already uploaded the 4K to Google Drive as well as my YouTube channel. It was the video that went up yesterday. But if your internet can allow it and you can download 40 gigabytes without going over whatever your internet limit is, then that 8K version is there, and it has helped out a lot with screenshots and stuff that I've sent to Zoe on past trailers that they released to help out with a lot of the translations and stuff to get clearer images and stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited to take a look at some of that stuff. You know, I keep every time people ask me about the demonstration, like just I'm gonna say this right now. I think what we saw is actually mind blowing when you really break down all the gameplay mechanics. And I think we're just scratching the surface. But the first thing I kind of want to touch on, I want your take on it because I'm very curious what you think. I felt that the footage was a little like just in terms of like graphics was not quite what I was expecting because you look at the trailers, you look at the screenshots, and at least seems a lot sharper than when we actually see extended gameplay. It looks like it took a little bit of a hit. Like it looks a little fuzzy. I see like the bilinear line of detail coming up, which that's there no matter what. But I'm kind of curious what your take is. Do you think what we're seeing from the trailers and the screenshots is how the game's going to look when we play the game, and that the footage was just highly compressed, or has Nintendo just showed us the best case scenario with the trailers and screenshots, and that demonstration is actually representative of how the game's going to look when we play it come May 12th?
I think that's actually a really great question, because I think personally that everything we've seen in like 2019, whenever they first showed off the sequel to Breath of the Wild, I think that was all just done on computer and nothing was representative of anything. That was just what they could get together, and it was rendering at the best that they could get it to render without it being too high fidelity for
like maybe it would have been like that's their target spec range, but you know, that's kind of like an ideal.
I think it would have been a little bit more than their target spec range, because they had the 2014 demo where they first showed off Breath of the Wild when it was known as the Zelda Wii U, and it had Link riding on Epona through like a bridge through like the Zonai ruins, and then the Guardian comes chasing them, and like everything on that. I'm like, there's no way the Wii U could render that at 1080p and 30 frames per second. And we get the game and it's like 900p sometimes, dips down to no on the Wii U. I was thinking of the Switch. On the Wii U, it was like 720p, and then it would still dip down to like close to like 540p and like 20 frames per second, as opposed to 720p and 30 frames per second, which is what you would imagine. Or in the trailer they presented, or not the trailer, but the gameplay section that they presented, it was full 1080p and full 30 frames per second. But it's like, there's no way the Wii U could handle that. But anyways, that's getting a bit off track. With what they originally showed, like they showed off like everything in the backgrounds and stuff, and I think what they're trying to do to compensate for the performance that we've seen with Breath of the Wild for the Tears of the Kingdom, because everyone's expecting it. I would imagine everyone's like, okay, well, we know how it performed on the Switch, and this is only releasing on the Switch, so maybe it'll be a little bit better. But this one, I imagine, since it took so frustratingly long, I would say, to actually release, I think they would have optimized it a lot better for the Switch, because there was even at the very beginning of Breath of the Wild, and this is just an example of how great Nintendo is at optimizing, the day one release of Breath of the Wild, so if you went and bought the game and you didn't update your Switch or anything and you just put the game in, there was a segment where like you would go and you would get the stick, and the first time you seen a bokoblin when you're going downhill from the Shrine of Resurrection, and there's like all the grass waving in the wind and stuff, it would cause it to like lag and slow down to like 20 frames per second or 15 frames per second, which is really bad, especially when it's already dipping down to like 720 or 540p. And they fixed that within like a week or two, so that there was hardly any lag at all. And if they could do that in like a week while it's still running with similar to the same optimization that it originally had, then I would imagine if they had 7 years to work on that full engine just for the Switch, then they would be able to optimize it enough to where it's going to run beautifully, which is kind of what we've seen with the trailers that you were mentioning. And there's been a bunch of people that showed, like, whenever like someone would take a screenshot of Link flying through the sky or whatever, like using glitches to get up high enough and then paragliding down and then taking a screenshot to show off the same type of like the exact screenshot from the trailer that we had seen. And in the trailer you could see, like, even as far away as like Death Mountain, there's a lot more detail on Death Mountain, and there's like a lot more trees that go further out with the depth of field and everything with a lot more detail and stuff. And I think that's just because they were focusing on like 2 different versions and they were trying to optimize it as best they could originally for the Wii U, and then all that same coding they just had to make best with what they could for the Switch. Whereas now they only have to focus on the Switch. So I do think it will look better. I don't think we'll have the same frame drops and everything, but another thing that I think they I don't know the exact word to call this, but when you're on the ground below, it's having to render everything around you, like everything that you can see. And the further things go off, like the lesser detail you get, and then eventually like the pop-up or whatever you want to call it just comes up and like things just disappear. But in this, especially in this gameplay, because I want to say it mostly focused on the Sky Islands, it's only having to render that Sky Island. Like, you can still see things like far off in the distance when you're towards the edge, but mainly, instead of having to render this entire world or whatever, it's like most of the time your field of view is going to be consumed by just this small Sky Island until you paraglide to the next. So I think that's a way that they can cheat the performance to make it seem like I don't know if that makes too much sense. Kind of like,
no, I get it.
If you think about like Wind Waker, like when you're on one of those islands, everything's rendered at the same time or whatever.
Well, I think you know what's kind of funny is that the higher up the islands are, the better off it actually is for rendering, because they can I mean, they still have to show something from high up, but the higher up you are, because I mean the way an open world game works, right, to my understanding, is effectively a game is constantly loading, and that's how it works. It's constantly loading in the world as you progress. So when you have an open world that has the verticality of Tears of the Kingdom, they already got the surface down, right? Like, that looks great, honestly. And actually, when we look at side by sides, it does look a little bit worse than Breath of the Wild, but I think that might just purely be compression. Like, I don't think the textures got blurrier in Tears of the Kingdom. So I'm optimistic that the gameplay demonstration just looks a little bit worse purely because of compression issues. We'll see once everything is said and done, right? But I feel I would say that usually Nintendo, when they give us footage and trailers and stuff, that is representative of how the game actually looks. I don't think they're actually misleading most of the time. So I'm going to err on the side of optimism there, right? That all said, you know, because it's so high up in the air, when you fall down, they can show off this beautiful draw distance, which even with the compression, you can tell that the draw distance in this game is far greater than Breath of the Wild. So that's already impressive. And based on what we saw from the Sky Islands, I would even argue it looks like the lighting and shadowing might be a little bit updated as well. So there seem to be some better things already shown off. So assuming we actually get the game and we see a non-compressed version, if it holds up, like in terms of like, you know, sharpness and resolution and texture detail to Breath of the Wild standards, but with better lighting and shadowing, better draw distance and larger world, and maybe a slightly more steady 30 FPS with that optimization you mentioned, I think that's going to be I would say that's a pretty significant improvement when you factor in all the other things that are going on with this game. And I guess that's kind of like really what I want to talk about, right? I'm glad you gave me your perspective there. But when you kind of factor in like the mechanics, right? Like the fuse mechanic and how you can fuse it with any item in the game. When you factor in the ascent, how it's they had patents that came out for the ascent ability months ago, but this idea that any ceiling you can shoot up from and then service on top of, that's mind-boggling. And then the recall, taking a fixed structure on the map and then reversing it into the air, and then all of that combines together with the already existing systems in place for Breath of the Wild. That's I mean, it's kind of insane when you think about everything that's going on. It's actually really impressive. If you just look at it at face value, you might not realize everything that's going on, but when you kind of think about everything with the physics, the weather, the abilities to draw distance, the sky islands, I'm I'm a little blown away.
Yeah, it's especially crazy. I know people listening or watching right now, they can, well, yeah, the people watching right now, they can see like it has that camera zoom. I'm using the video as the background right now.
Epic.
And it's showing like how far you can see before Link jumps off to that platform, and now it's everything I was going to talk about is kind of ruined. But it was showing like a slow like zoom on the camera to where you can kind of see like the clouds and everything below and everything. But it's also having to deal with everything else, and I think this is just like that Zelda team. Like we kind of seen how much they could optimize like part of the Xenoblade team from Monolith Soft was working on Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. And we kind of seen how much they could optimize like game to game from like one game on the Switch to the next game on the Switch. But this is like the actual Nintendo team. And I just think it's going to be phenomenally better than we could even imagine it would have been on the Switch, because they're always like outdoing themselves with the Nintendo, even all the way back. The thing that comes to my mind is on Nintendo 64, to where whenever they first started Ocarina of Time, Nintendo fully thought that Zelda game would have to fully take place within Hyrule Castle, kind of like how Mario 90% took place in, or at least the hub world took place inside of that castle, and you'd have to jump through the pictures and everything to go to the different worlds, and it acted as the hub world. And that's kind of what they thought Ocarina of Time would be. But then they realized they could optimize the code for the console and take advantage of certain things and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think that's what they've done with the Switch, because this seems like, I don't know if you've ever played Breath of the Wild on the 𝗙𝗵𝗄 emulator.
I've seen footage.
Yeah, and it seems like not as much as like taking it up to like 4K and maxing out the rendering distance and everything and just putting everything on like ultra settings or whatever. But it seems like it is like a good step up from Breath of the Wild, even playing it on 𝗙𝗵𝗄. And that's what I'm interested in, because I know they're also adding in a lot more. Okay, sorry about that. I'm not sure what the exact issue was, but we're back now. I just have to get it back. They can still hear us on the live stream, but I just... What the heck is even going on? Everyone watching, I apologize. I really, at this point, I have no idea what's going on. It says we're online, it says we're connected. But the Discord chat is not going. And I still want to get to everyone's questions. I want to talk about Tears of the Kingdom with everyone. I want to do the Zelda trivia with everyone, the Triforce trivia. But exiting out of Discord, reloading it. I'm just going to assume this is on my end, not Andres' end. Yeah, there he is. Okay.
Welcome back.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome me back.
No. See, apparently I was still live streaming for some reason, but Discord cut out, so I was telling everyone I'm doing... Oh, I'm not even showing. There I am. Okay. I was telling everyone I just had to get back to the chat and get back to talking about Tears of the Kingdom and everything, and yeah. So, properties, full Discord... Okay, there we are. Okay, so yes, Tears of the Kingdom, not the optimization, moving on from that. But what were you most interested in with the gameplay that you actually seen from the presentation, and what would you like to see going forward?
Well, there's a lot, right? So
yeah, that is a lot.
Picking one's gonna be tough.
I think you had your own little, or not your little. Geez, what am I saying? You had your own live stream last night, I think, with Cap Bergerson or Daniel, who used to be co-host on this podcast.
Yeah.
So I imagine you had a lot of stuff that came to mind while you were talking to him that you can mention as well.
Yeah. No, for sure. We talked about a lot of stuff. In terms of what I saw that most excited me, this might be kind of it's tough. It's tough. All the abilities are cool, all of them. But I am perhaps most curious about the fuse ability. Even though I think the Ultra Hand might be the most like mind-boggling ability because of all the things we might be able to build with maybe rocket ships, submarines, who knows. But for the fuse ability, it's just exciting to think about because it looks like you can essentially fuse any of your shields, any of your swords or weapons with any other item in the game. And they are adding at least some items to the game on top. There was already a lot of items in Breath of the Wild. So even if they don't add a single new item, simply by them allowing us to fuse all of these items together, the options that evolve from that is staggering, especially when you consider that we saw evidence that we can fuse on top of fused items. Because there's this one shop that showed the option to fuse like they had fused a stick and a log, so it was already an item, and they had the option to fuse it again with another item. So, a couple takeaways from that. One, you can stack fusions. So there's the possibilities are crazy, especially if you account for a few additional items that we have already seen evidence of. So there's I don't know how big the number is going to be, but I think we're talking about like easily in the thousands of options. And then
that's crazy.
On top of that, we can store them. Like some people were debating if we can store them or not, but it's not confirmed, but I would say it's likely because if they're going to go through the trouble of creating a new image file for each fused item and a specific name for it, as we saw, then I think that implies that they all could be in the inventory like all the other base items as well. So we could be talking about all sorts of creations being in there. And what's kind of cool about this is that I know a lot of people saw the demonstration and they kind of started things fairly early on with showing that breaking is back. And a lot of people got upset by that. But what I think some people missed out on is that they were showing how they answered the durability problem. Because the thing is, the durability was actually important for the gameplay because it kept the gameplay loop going, right? With weapons breaking, that kept you looking for more treasure, more things. It kept you exploring. It helped the actual loop of the game, right? So just getting rid of durability would actually make the game worse. What they did is that they made it more interesting, because if you do have a weapon that is about to break that you don't want to break, then you fuse it. That stick was about to break. It wasn't just that he had a stick. He was using it. It was about to break. He then went to a rock, fused it, and it became very sturdy. It was basically a whole new weapon with more durability, more power, and he kept it going. So imagine you do find like a giant flame sword and you love it, but then it's about to break. We're like, okay, well, I don't want it to break. So you find something else to fuse with it and it becomes something new. So the fusion mechanic, it actually just I think it just makes durability better. And if you're worried about your weapon breaking, you have a perfect solution, fusion. So to me, I think it actually just improves upon Breath of the Wild significantly when you kind of break it down in that way. So
It says like something happened, but then it makes me think that maybe it's just Discord since the internet's still going. But
should we reset Discord?
I don't know. I don't know if that would really help or not. But I think we should just keep trying to go on.
Sure.
I can edit a video and publish it for like everyone later that cuts out all of the missteps. But apparently it's Discord on my side, because every time Discord cuts out and then you freeze or I freeze, it still keeps going. I don't know. I apologize to everyone that's trying to watch. I apologize to you, Andres. But yes, continue, please.
I was kind of talking about how the item fusions offer an amazing amount of gameplay possibility, and you were going to kind of piggyback on that.
Yes. So I was saying how my girlfriend messaged me, and she was always like, "Oh, it's a lollipop," because it's like the stick with the boulder on it. Yeah. And that got me thinking, like, can you fuse more than 2 items? Like, if you fuse 3 items together, can you do that? Or is it just 2? Or
I think the footage suggests that we can fuse a fused item. I don't know how far we can go, though. I have to imagine at some point there's a limit.
All right.
But what is that limit?
Yeah, I don't know what you've thought of yet. But if you can come up with it on the spot, what is the craziest fused item that you could think of, fusing something with something else? To me, I think it would be like a mix. If you could somehow do it, I don't know. If you could somehow do it, an ice arrow with a lightning arrow or a fire arrow. Because when you shoot things with the ice arrow, they instantly freeze. And then if you hit them with like a fire arrow or something after, they like explode. Yeah. So if you just have like a one shot with an arrow to where they just instantly explode, that's what I'm thinking of. But maybe you're a bit more creative than I am.
It's tough. So with the bow,
because you also find the weapons out that's like the flame sword. And then you can find the ice sword. So like if you already have an ice arrow and you fuse that with the fire sword or whatever, if it allows you to do that, then that's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah, I am thinking there might be. Well, I don't know. It's hard to say what limitations there are, right? Based off the footage, it looks like the bow stuff is limited to kind of like your food item pouch. You know, like the non-sword and shield items, right? Which is a lot. And it looks like the sword and shield stuff is you can fuse with, I don't know, because you're able to fuse random stuff to the shield, actually, like a mushroom or rock. So, and you can't store boulders. So I think it goes beyond just storable items too. I think there's probably a lot of flexibility. So maybe I shouldn't be talking about what we can't do and just kind of just go to town with what we might be able to do, right? The craziest thing, I'll tell you that I've had this theory that I think the Master Sword is definitely going to be used with fusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that feels kind of like, it's almost like, oh, you have this broken sword. Well, if I attach something else to it, it ain't so broken no more, is it? It's something else. It's a new creation. But what could they connect? I do like the idea of combining elements, though. But yeah, dude.
Apparently, it says it's back. Thank goodness. There's at least 34 people. I'm sure it'll click back up.
It'll come back up. It'll come.
Yeah, but everyone, I'm sorry. Again, I'm not sure what the issue was. I'm thinking it's solved now. Everything has been reset and restarted, and I apologize again. I'll have an edited version cutting out all of the missing pieces.
Yeah.
So hopefully everyone can look forward to that if they missed out on some part or clicked off or clicked back on because of something. I apologize. But But I was saying, like, whenever I seen that it did mess up, that I was glad that Amanda and Geek didn't come on. That way it wasn't like 4 people just wasting their time instead of 2 people wasting their time. But I think now we should be good. And I apologize for wasting your time as well.
Nah, man, it's cool. It's cool. We're good.
But yes, you're more than welcome to come back on next week or any time that you are available. Usually Geek is... I call her Geek. She says to call her Geek because she doesn't want her real name to be going around.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that are like, why do we call her Geek? That seems like a little
That's her
rude.
That's the nickname she likes.
It is, but
Well, I mean,
there's a lot of people
depends.
that's like, isn't that rude? Like, I don't want to insult her and call her a geek. And it's like, no, geek, it's a good thing. Like, you're a geek, nerd, like that's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, some people will celebrate, those terms like, hey, yeah, I'm a cool nerd. Like, being a nerd is cool, Being
Yeah.
a geek is cool.
Exactly.
Talking about Zelda is cool, So,
All right. So what are your where we left off?
well, you had asked me if I could think of like a crazy fusion. The best thing I could come up with on the spot was maybe fusing a flame and lightning sword to create an explosion blade.
That never came to my mind. I was thinking of like an ice arrow and fire arrow to make like an instant, like one-shot explosion, but
Yeah,
an electric, that
it would be neat.
that could it is, but it also scares me because do you remember? I feel bad for asking this, but you played through Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Thunderblight Ganon.
Yeah.
How he was like always like zipping back and forth and everything.
Yeah, he was playing.
So like where that was the different main bosses of what they called the dungeons were based off of different elemental forces mostly. Could you imagine if one of the Ganons had that same type of, or whatever the main boss would be in this game, had that same type of elemental thing to where it was like, at first it freezes you, and then it gives like a fire element as well, so it just like explodes you, or like the elemental thing like you were talking about?
So, like a boss that took advantage of these combinations.
Exactly, yes. Like mixing together like ice and electricity or fire
that
and
would be
ice or
scary,
whatever.
but I can see it.
But
I
of
would
course the ice
prefer-
arrows don't exist.
The what?
The ice, I said, but of course the ice arrows don't exist.
Yeah, they won't exist. I'll say that I am expecting like some more unique boss fights this time around, right? And I don't want the scourges to come back, but if they do come back, I hope they're just remixed a lot, like not just like these weird things, but maybe like a scourge could like take over or resurrect like a giant Dodongo for example. Like that would be cool. I would love that. And maybe it's like an undead giant Dodongo or something, and it breathes fire, and maybe you're beating it, but then for second phase, the scourge. Hey,
Okay. I don't
pause for a moment that time.
yeah.
Hey,
What? Yeah, I don't it did it again.
must be the scourges.
The scourges. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I guess it's still streaming, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Again, I apologize for any of the nonsense that you've been having to deal with from all this, but the thing that I was thinking of is like, do you remember like, because you were talking about like reviving or not reviving, but like fighting like a big Dodongo or whatever,
Yeah.
and the thing that comes to my mind is like, do you know what was it, King Dodongo in Ocarina of Time, the second dungeon, whenever you go through like Dodongo Dodongo Caverns. I was gonna say Dodongo. Dodondo.
boss. Yeah.
I can't even say it. Such hard syllables. Words are hard, but you go through there, and then it's like to get to that main entrance, to get to the boss room. It's like you have to open the mouth of the giant Dodongo, and it's like when you open that mouth, it's like, okay, there's the skeleton of a ginormous Dodongo, and then I go and fight this other Dodongo that's like a tenth of its size. It's like, what about that Dodongo? That's the boss that I want to fight.
Right?
Because it's like
fight that in Tears of the Kingdom. Like, we have seen that Tears of the Kingdom has like a larger scale. So, you know, they could give us some Shadow of the Colossus style bosses. Like, I would love that. I think one of the few
I love that you just mentioned Shadow of the Colossus, because that's one of my favorite games.
It's an amazing game. It's an amazing game. But I kind of felt it was a bit of a lost opportunity when the final boss in Breath of the Wild, where we just kind of shot arrows at the golden rings around the final like pig boss for Calamity Ganon. Like, had that thing been moving around and we would climb it, it was more of like that would have made sense, because climbing is like a core mechanic in Breath of the Wild, yet they didn't use climbing at all. Like, they could have still used the horse, they still could have used the bow. Like, those elements were fine, but it felt like they could have mixed it up, had some more climbing involved, had it actually moved around, and it would have been more hectic. That would have been cool. Like, there could have been more done with that boss fight. And I have to wonder that, you know, it just kind of came down to the technologies they had and making it run on Wii U. But with Switch, considering the larger scale, considering how dynamic the world kind of seems this time around, and then obviously the sky and all, like, maybe they can pull off more fights, something like that. Maybe they wouldn't be in the field, but maybe, you know, if there are some large dungeons, there could be some big areas that have these big boss fights. Give us an undead Dodongo. Heck, I mean, in Breath of the Wild, there are all sorts of giant skeletons. What are those for, right? Like, it's hinting that at one point or another, there were some creatures that were massive. What about the Leviathans? Are those bones just going to still be there, or will something happen to them?
There was I don't want to interrupt you, but there was a skeleton placed perfectly on the map for whenever there was the what was it? One of the CDI games for Zelda.
Okay.
And it was like this on that map. There was the skeleton of like this giant whale creature, and then they like placed that perfectly on the map for Breath of the Wild. And I'm like, was that just like a small nod from the developers to where it's like, yeah, we understand people may have played this game and they may want a reference, or like, was it something intentional? I don't know. But yeah, like the thing is like we even seen in the DLC, they showed like larger versions of 𝗙lices and other animals, or not animals, but bosses or enemies or overworld bosses, I guess you can call them.
Sure.
The one that comes to my mind is like a 𝗙lice or whatever, and there was one in like in the middle of Death Mountain that you had to go and fight, and it was just like a larger version of overworld enemies that you would have to fight previously. So what do you think about them adding in stuff like that? Because you mentioned that bringing in like larger like Dodongos and stuff. We didn't even see a Dodongo in Breath of the Wild, but that would be great to see in Breath of the Wild. And we've already seen enemies that we haven't seen from Breath of the Wild. And there are a few other things that we've seen in the Tears of the Kingdom trailer that I would want to get to. But yeah, like what were your thoughts on, since we haven't had you on before, just the DLC that came to Breath of the Wild? Because but before you start, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the one of the interviews I seen was Aonuma saying that they wanted to bring in, what was it? They wanted to save the fundamental changes to the game that would just like completely change the gameplay. they wanted to save those ideas because Tears of the Kingdom began as DLC for Breath of the Wild, and the DLC for Breath of the Wild began as just things that were left out of the original game of Breath of the Wild, which also gets me to a point that I want to talk about with Tears of the Kingdom later on after we finish this as well. But it's like if content they left out of Breath of the Wild became DLC, and then they had so many ideas for DLC that it became Breath of the Wild 2 or Tears of the Kingdom now, then it's like all of those ideas that they had for Breath of the Wild, which was those larger versions of enemies and stuff for the DLC, and now there's Tears of the Kingdom. I forgot our original question. I'm sorry. What was the original discussion question?
Well, I guess I'm gonna assume the direction you were kind of headed in is based off like the DLC we saw for Breath of the Wild. What do I think that might suggest for Tears of the Kingdom?
Kind of. That is one thing that I was wanting to get to. Maybe I put that into what I was thinking off of what you said, but maybe someone in the Hi, I am just going to go ahead and restart Discord because I don't know what's going on. OBS seems like it's still recording everything. I'm going to restart Discord and I'll come back to you. I apologize. I don't know if it's like an update or something or Discord's just being weird. I apologize, but I'll be right back.
All right.
Yes, everyone. I hope you can still hear me. I am going out of Discord. And to make it up for everyone, I don't know if Andre is listening now, but to make it up for everyone, we will go ahead and get straight into the Zelda trivia for everyone. And then we will talk about the Q&A before we get into the questions. Okay. So that whole time, everything seemed to be fine. Let's see here. Pop out chat. Again, you are more than welcome to come back on next week just to have like a better experience. I really don't know what's going on right now. But we can continue talking about Tears of the Kingdom. But let's what would you think about getting into the Breath of the Wild trivia right now?
Let's go for it.
All right.
Let's go.
Yeah. Great. Where do I have it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So, if you can give me your top 3 things that you've seen. No. Not the top 3 things that you've seen in the Tears of the Kingdom gameplay presentation, but the top 3 things that you would like to see when you're playing the game. Because I'm sure everyone's already seen the gameplay. Yet. Yeah, things that you don't know about yet, but you would like to see featured in the game.
All right, so first,
while I get this set up. Yes.
I would like to see us being able to ride the dragons. I want to be able to ride the dragons. I think that would be really cool to add. Like, I think having the dragons in Breath of the Wild, they were exciting. Approaching them was fun. But considering all the things you could ride in Breath of the Wild, there was like that consideration, like, oh, since they're not attacking me, can I ride them? And now in Tears of the Kingdom, they're kind of just there. So I definitely want to be able to interact with them more so than before. So I'm really pulling for riding dragons, and maybe the end game sequence is Link riding a dragon, battling Ganon. It's also riding his own crazy, like maybe Volvagia demon resurrection dragon. Like that would be so cool. That's one. Another, I would love to see the return of large. Well, I say return, but I think they'll be reimagined in some way. But I want to see large scale dungeons with their own theme and unique boss fights at the end. And I would
Yes.
love it if the way they handle it, it's kind of like done where they're hidden in Hyrule. Because if you take a look at the map in Breath of the Wild, it's referring to all sorts of things throughout the history that happens.
Yeah, but this is like the worst
Yeah, what do you
time.
want to do?
Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I was talking about my first like kind of wish is rideable dragons, more interactivity with them.
Wait,
Uh
rideable dragons?
rideable dragons.
What?
I want to be able to ride the dragons like a horse, but in the air. That's what I would like to see. I want to see dungeons return with big epic boss fights at the end. I hope that they're kind of hidden in Hyrule. Like, for example, if there's underwater exploration, maybe one's hidden inside Lake Hylia. Maybe once we clear the Malice in Death Mountain, maybe we can find a fire temple there. I would have to imagine there would be a couple in the Sky Islands. Those would be some great possibilities. Maybe there's one hidden inside Hebra Mountain as well. Maybe that's related to the wind vortex thing, and that's like a wind temple or something like that. So I hope
Mm-hmm.
we see dungeons return in that way. I don't expect them to function exactly the way they did in previous Zelda games before Breath of the Wild, but I hope that they are like these large, very themed, um, you know, big dungeons that are bigger than a divine beast, that have their own unique puzzles, that have their own sort of element or story to it. There's a build up, there's a narrative there. There's a character or two that are involved with the adventure with that particular dungeon, and it culminates to a big, epic, unique fight at the end. And then you get like maybe a tier of the kingdom or something, and that allows you to kind of progress. I want to see something like that. And maybe you can do the dungeons out of order, right? Because it's still kind of like an open air game, but I want to see something like that. And as for a third thing, well, there's a lot, right? I want to see a world that we can build.
Oh,
They've talked about
yes,
rebuilding
yes,
Hyrule.
yes, yes. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and I feel like we've seen some signs of that already, especially with the demonstration, how they showed like some foundational pieces to some houses and stuff. And we also have the Ultra Hand. Maybe Link's gonna be helping out the the Bolson people, and it's a massive Terry Town
Oh,
quest.
that is one of the questions that's in the
Okay.
trivia. So for everyone watching, there's a hint at one of the questions.
Yeah, but those are some of the things I would like to see in Tears of the Kingdom. I can go on. Oh, there's
No,
more.
no. Did you ever see? I've been having trouble finding it, but there was an interview I seen a long time ago. I don't know if it was like, maybe it was the same year that Breath of the Wild released.
I think I know what you're getting at.
Maybe it's a little bit before. But there was an interview where Aonuma, maybe it was Fujibayashi, the director of Breath of the Wild, said that they had an idea for having the overworld being I'm paraphrasing, this isn't what they said, because if I knew what they said I could just put it in quotes and find it on Google or something. And I haven't been able to find it since, but I remember I found it for like one of the podcasts that I had a long time ago. And I like put the quote on that, so I'm sure if I just like went back to the time of that
I know
video.
where it is.
Yeah, and it was like
Gaming made a video about it.
It was like Aonuma or someone said something along the lines of, we want the overworld, or the overworld's going to be dynamic to where as you progress through the game, the overworld's going to change based off of the actions that you make. And that sounded a lot like what they did with I see it updating. Hello?
Hello.
I don't know what to do except for apologize. I thought it was fixed. Apparently it wasn't. I'm clicking to update the live chat right now for everyone that's tuning in or watching. Andres, I apologize. This has literally never happened before. It either cuts out and it's out completely, but it's never cut out like every 2 seconds. I imagine we're being hacked by Sega to be like, how dare you talk about Nintendo, not us.
That's it. That's what they're doing. How dare they? They're also mad that there's that F-Zero game that's supposedly in the works, and they're like, wait, why aren't you consulting us? We made such a good F-Zero GX. Who knows? Yeah, but I'm ready for the Q&A.
Yeah, I am too. I've had it ready for a bit. I just want to make sure that the chat is updated. Let me refresh the.
Here we are in the land of Hyrule.
No, not that. The actual live chat. Okay, so I'm refreshing the live chat right now. I'm getting the pop-out chat, the URL for the pop-out chat, putting it in the live chat properties for Is it not updating? Really? I don't know what's going on. Okay, maybe it is, but maybe no one's commenting. Okay, maybe that's it, because everyone's like so tired of it. Okay, so now I am clicking off of the Kahoot thing that I had going on. I am refreshing. Everyone get ready for the Zelda trivia for the live chat. Hopefully it goes, oh yeah, okay, now it's updating. Okay, cool. Are you there, Andres?
I'm here.
Great. Start. Loading. Classic mode. Get ready to join. All right, I'll send you the code or a link in the description.
Okay.
On Discord.
Oh, okay, we got a Kahoot. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
And then everyone on the YouTube live chat, I'll send it. You can join. You can play on your tablet, your shoe, your computer, your cell phone, your tablet, whatever you have, you can play. I apologize for all of the inconveniences. I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah. And while everyone is joining, I'll read out everyone's names. We have PO456, Freya, Zixel, Orange Link, Andres, restart. Okay, cool. So here's how it works. We have 5 people right now. While I'm talking, we can have other people join. Shadow to us just join. Cool. So you can join the link. You don't need it to make a profile. You don't need a computer, or you can use anything that you need, like a cell phone, a computer, a laptop, a tablet, your shoe, your refrigerator, anything. As long as it has internet connection, you can just go to the lab or go to the website and you can join on, and it will be fine. We have 7 people. I think we can have up to 10. Polish Patriot just joined. I love Poland. I have a few friends there, so that's great. 10,000 noodles. I love noodles. I probably ate 10,000 noodles in my life. We have room for 2 more. I'm imagining. Usually, every time I've noticed, they've let us go way beyond 10 people, but for now 10 would be fine. We have 8 people in right now. This is all Breath of the Wild related. It's all Breath of the Wild Zelda trivia. I just need to make a few adjustments on the volume. And then for people that maybe can't connect straight to, I'll post in the chat the numbers that you can use to join on. And then we'll give a 10-second countdown. Andres, are you there?
I'm right here.
Are you ready for the Breath of the Wild?
Let's get into it.
All right.
It just shows my name on the screen. I'm assuming it's all going to pop up in a moment, right?
Yeah, it'll pop up in a minute. Number 9 just popped in. I'm gonna put it for now while we're waiting on more people to pop in. I'm gonna try to put it on the screen for everyone to watch. Oh, geez, but I feel bad for the chat. It looks like everyone in the chat. It looks like the live chat's not updating. I don't know. I'm gonna try to fix that first, and then I'll do. So everyone has about 30 seconds before we begin. 30 seconds. And I'm sure this is as embarrassing as it is for me, for everyone. Zoe's in the chat. Yeah, Zoe, join. You know more about Tears of the Kingdom than anyone else that I know. Well, that's probably not true, but they're under NDA. But we can't talk about that. Because Daniel's best friends with Miyamoto. That's why.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what I'm gonna go with. Alright. Is that really proper? I'm doing my best to make sure that everyone's chats show up on the live stream. But it's not. I'm guessing because of so many of the outages. I'm not sure what's going on, but I can at least do this. So that I'm showing the, again, I'm sorry for everyone who is live chatting. I will read it out. We will answer your questions after this trivia. So we have, see, I thought we had a limit of 10. We have 11 right now. Momoko, Zoe, Orange Link, Mia Toro, Polish Patriot, I love Poland, 10,000 Noodles, shout out to us, who is a Patreon supporter, Zilxel, and Po456 Freya, if that's the same Freya that I know, good for you. And this person I've never even heard of before on this restart. Who's that?
Me neither.
You never heard of him before?
No.
No. Who could he be?
Probably.
Yeah, just some loser trying to like find links. Hover boots.
That's it.
I would love some hover boots. All right, so the important thing is everyone that is listening right now, everyone that has tuned in, and you can still join on right now if you type in the number. Hello?
I'm here.
Okay, it cut out for just a second. Okay, don't pay attention for that. Don't pay attention for anything. Just pay attention to the device that you're using, whether it's your cell phone, your tablet, your computer, your cell phone, your shoe, your refrigerator, your bucket outside, whatever it is, only pay attention to that. Otherwise, if you're paying attention to me reading out the questions and the answers, you're going to get like a 2 or 3 second delay. So pay attention to the screen that you have in front of your face. All right, let's go. Start.
Oh man.
Triforce Trivia 188, Breath of the Wild edition. 3, 2, 1. Quiz. The 4 champions are named Urbosa, Daruk, Revali, and Yunobo. Greek apprentice, Mipha, Prince Sidon. Do do
It's like
do
long to
do
answer.
do
Could have answered that faster.
do. Yes. Well, maybe I need to like minimize that a little.
Oh man, I was way too slow. That was a gimme.
Kinda. Yeah. I Nintendo. I kind of got that one from Nintendo. That answer. So, one person answered Yunobo. Yunobo, if you're speaking English, which I imagine you are, Joe voices Yunobo and Daruk. And so I can imagine why you got that one wrong, but it was Mipha was the answer. The third one in yellow, or at least it shows up as yellow for me. Question 2 of 2, and remember, don't follow along with my voice. Just answer appropriately. Yes. 𝗙𝗻𝗋𝗋𝗃𝗃. I don't know how to answer it. I don't know how to pronounce that. Got first place. Zoe got second. Shadow to Us got third. 𝗶𝗃𝗶𝗊 got fourth, and Polish Patriot got fifth. Second question, everyone. Let's go. 2 of 10. Where does Link first speak to 𝗵𝗃? Hyrule Castle, Kakariko Village, Lake Hylia, Temple of Time.
Oh, is this a trick question?
No.
Oh, okay.
One person.
An age of calamity.
One person. Yeah. Sorry. What were you saying?
I was just.
You mentioned Age of Calamity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no,
it's not canon.
I mean, it just depends on.
These are Breath of the Wild questions, though. These are Breath of the Wild.
Yes. Yes.
So within the context of Breath of the Wild, it is the answer.
Okay. So one person chose Hyrule Castle. 9 people chose Kakariko Village. One person chose Lake Hylia. No one chose Temple of Time. Third question here in a second, but first, 𝗶𝗃𝗶𝗊 is in first place. Polish Patriot is now in second. Miyataro is in third. Freya is in fourth, and Shadow to Us, a Patreon supporter, is in fifth. Third question, I think. Yeah, third. Link begins Breath of the Wild with underwear, sword and shield, empty bottle, fairy. Everyone chose underwear. Yes, he begins the game with underwear. Andres, you're back in fifth.
I cracked in there.
Yes. None of the other spots fell. 𝗶𝗃𝗶𝗊 in first. Second is Polish. Third is Miyataro. Or I don't know how to pronounce that. You're going to have to correct me in the chat. And Shadow to Us is in fourth. But everyone is still in the 2,000 points range. So everyone is still... it's still up for, yeah. Next question. True or false? Breath of the Wild DLC released pack in 2018. So the DLC pack for Breath of the Wild released in 2018. 6 people chose true, 5 people chose false. I'm scared to know what you chose, and Andres. I said, and I'm sorry, Andres.
You're good. Don't worry.
Oh no! Don't worry, because you're in second.
Yeah.
Alright, 𝗵𝗃𝗚𝗃𝗃 first. Andres second. 3's Freya. I'm wondering if that's the Freya that I know. Because I know someone named Freya, but I don't... She's never participated in these. So I'm wondering if that's her. But 4th, Zoe. Which, good for you. And, yeah, Polish Patriot. Yeah, so originally, Breath of the Wild. This is why I was thinking of adding that question into this. Because Tears of the Kingdom, I don't think has had any reference to DLC. Am I correct?
There's no hard paid DLC. There's no hard confirmation of it yet.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
There's been speculation based off website stuff, but it's
Yeah.
It could just be alluding to just other things on the eShop and not.
Do you want to know what made me sad about that?
What?
Every day, I go to like all of the different Nintendo websites, like Nintendo of America, Nintendo of Japan, Nintendo of Korea, and all those, and I look at like their, I don't know, like the coding on their stuff to like look behind and just like read the HTML and everything.
Yeah.
And I was the first one that reported on that had like Nintendo mentioning DLC for Tears of the Kingdom, and no one referenced me, and it made me sad.
It's very strange how these things happened. Like a year or so, maybe is it year and a half?
Yeah, I'm sure you were the first person.
Thing,
yeah,
and people like, because I've made videos about Donkey Kong before, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've made videos talking about Donkey Kong theories and rumors, but that weren't my own. Then I had one that was my own source, put it out there. People picked up on the story and sourced my video from before I even had a source. I was like, but that's not the story.
Yeah.
So yeah. And today I put out a video about Metroid Prime.
What is going? Is it just OBS? Is OBS overwhelmed? What's going on?
I don't know. But the quiz, I'm no longer connected. Oh, I'm back. I'm back in the quiz.
Oh, jeez, I don't know what's going on. But yes, you reported on stuff for the first time before, and then other people report on it, and it's like, well, you clearly got that information from me.
Yeah.
But not me in my case.
Sometimes they source it, or sometimes they source the wrong video. I've just noticed that some I'm not pointing any fingers at anyone specifically, but I've noticed that there's been an issue with not really reading or watching a whole video and getting the whole context, and just being like, oh, there's this video, okay, let me just pick one random thing, and it's a little messy.
All right, trying to continue on with this 5 of 10. Who is the champion for Vah-Rudania? Daruk, Darunia, Urbosa, Narnia. Hello?
Cool.
I'm sorry again. I don't know that it keeps doing it. I don't know what the problem is.
There are days where internet just can be a real mess.
Yeah, I don't know if they're like working on the power lines or whatever outside.
Possible.
It is, but they chose a really bad time. Okay.
I know.
Let me
I am interested in this quiz though. I'm a little nervous because I answered that one a little bit slower than the others. I feel I might have lost my placing a little. Did I get it wrong? But
you may have. I'm just trying to get us back in. All right, pop out chat. Why is it not on the pop out chat? All right, everyone, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know why it goes to null every time. Like, you're not null.
Yeah, not today.
Null seems like a Marvel boss that'll just like end everything. Which would be convenient for how things have been going. But yes, next question. Momoko is in 5th. Everyone else stays in the same place. Andres,
Okay.
you're in 2nd.
Okay, I'm holding down the fort so far.
6 of 10. Which of the following is not an area in Breath of the Wild's Hyrule? Terran Pass, Gorko Lake, Jeddo Bridge, Ruto Wastelands.
Oh, I just guessed. I guessed.
I hope that's still showing up for everyone. It looks like it is.
I'm nervous. Oh man! Oh, I got it right. I can't believe it. Ooh.
Okay.
I used some logic.
I'm just happy that it's still working for everyone. That's all I'm happy about. 3 people chose Terran Pass. 1 person chose Gorko Lake. 2 people chose Jeddo Bridge. 5 people chose.
Because when you drop, the Kahoot drops, but it comes back, right? Like that, the Kahoot shouldn't be connected to your Discord. So I don't think it's Discord today that's giving us the runaround. Probably something with the internet.
All right. There it is. Okay.
I'm not giving up on this quiz.
No. Well, you're in 1st now, apparently.
Oh man. I mean, that last question was a really tough one. It was really. You want to know how I got it? Because I saw Ruto Wastelands. I was like, wait, but Ruto is a Zora. Why would they have a wasteland like being named after a Zora aquatic princess? So I was like, I'm gonna pick that one just because it seems to be off. And I got lucky.
I understand that. That's actually a good explanation.
Thanks.
But the fact that you came in 1st on it. Oh, jeez.
So I got 4 questions left. This is not over.
I know. I just want to make sure like the live chat is updated real quick. I'm gonna refresh. Did you ever see those animated series that had like Link in it in the past? There was like
the Excuse Me Princess things.
What? I don't.
The Excuse Me Princess cartoon.
Yeah. There was one that was like M Master or N Master or something like that.
I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, okay. No, Captain N. That was it.
That does sound familiar.
All right, I am updating. Maybe I should have went with the other thing that I paid for, $25, instead of letting it go to waste.
Well, is it for just a day?
It was a StreamYard for like a month.
Well, you can still use it next week.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Is everyone here? Can everyone see us? Everyone in the chat? Hello. Hi. We're still here. So okay. Shadow to us.
Still here.
Game's up. DC still here? Yeah. Game is up, but not the video. Video should be up. Yep, Zoe says yep. Zoe is the best. She's the one that does all the deciphering for anything Tears of the Kingdom that you may have seen in the leak. So Nintendo Ninjas, please do not go and arrest her.
You'll never find her.
She's in Germany. All right. Next question, if it still works. 7 of 10. How many Koroks do you need to... What the heck is even going on? I feel like this is a Russian conspiracy. Hello? Hello?
I am here.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I don't know, but I got the question wrong, apparently. I didn't answer in time, but I didn't know the answer.
Right there?
I'm right here.
That I don't. What the heck is going on? This has literally never happened. I don't know what. I want to like strangle a carrot. That last question it said no one got right.
Yeah, so what is with that? Like, what you need 120 Crocs for what? To find like
The golden poop.
Isn't it 900 Croc seeds?
I thought it was 100.
It's 900.
You're right. I was probably thinking of the shrines. 120 shrines.
Yep.
So everyone got it wrong. So that question is just a skip.
Yeah. Okay. Imagine someone guessed it right though. Oh my gosh.
I apologize, everyone.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Link buys a house from who? Zelda, Brodson, Impa, Hudson. Who does Link buy a house from?
Am I about to cry in Hylian? Oh no, I'm not crying yet.
Two people
said about getting the other one wrong.
2 people said Brodson.
Yeah.
8 people said Hudson.
Okay.
I apologize for bringing you on the worst Hylian Gamescast I've ever had.
This quiz though, this is a fun idea.
You're still in first, so as long as you win, you get
still question.
9 out of 10. The Master Sword is found in Hyrule Castle, Temple of Time, 𝗙𝗃 Forest, 𝗏𝗏 Forest, Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, everyone. Breath of the Wild. Hyrule Castle, Temple of Time, 𝗙𝗃 Forest, 𝗏𝗏 Forest. Where is it found? Look at that muscle from Andres. He's got those biceps.
I'm waiting for the answer. Oh, correct. 𝗙𝗃 Forest and 𝗏𝗏 Forest are very, very, very similar locales that are really just based off time.
Yeah, it says everyone got 𝗏𝗏 Forest, though.
Okay.
Did you not click 𝗏𝗏 Forest?
Oh, I did.
Okay, so everyone had it correct.
Yeah, I did.
The podium did not change at all, but you are leading a smaller bit ahead than
someone answered that
previously.
question faster. Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't catch up, I imagine. All right, let's go. Final question, I think. Let's find out together. 10 out of 10. The term ZOEY of the ZOEY tribe means what? Ancient, mystery, magic, powerful. Doom, 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 doom. Let's see what everyone says. 10 answers. Okay. Ooh. 3 said ancient. 7 said mystery. Those 3 are wrong. I can go ahead and tell you. Triforce Trivia, 188, Breath of the Wild Edition. Zoe came in 3rd. Freddy came in 2nd. First is... Who is it? Oh, Andres!
It did it!
Whoever that is.
Man, that was tough.
I mean, maybe we'll find out who Andres Restart is later.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's just one of those people that just like tunes in, wins everything, and then just leaves.
I'm a lurker.
So it's you. Who would have known? No, that was the thing. Everyone used to use well, not on the comments, but I would get some emails where people would be like, the only reason Daniel wins is because he's in the thing, and they would think that I would like set it up for Daniel to win or something, like questions he already knew. And I'm like, no, he just plays through every Zelda game over and over again to get more and more gameplay footage recorded. So
like he talks about Zelda. He makes Zelda videos because he likes Zelda a lot, and thus he knows a lot about Zelda.
Yeah.
Therefore, he has a strong chance to do well in a trivia about Zelda.
The thing, and apparently he's done well in the Zelda trivia thing that he's doing with another channel.
Okay.
It's him and Hyrule Gamer are partnered. It's like a tag team thing, I guess.
Oh, cool.
And from what I remember, I can't talk. From what I remember, he's doing well in that. So good for him.
Yeah.
And good for Hyrule Gamer. And yeah, I guess that's it. So for everyone else, we are going to continue talking about the Triforce. No. I can't even think right now because of all the nonsense I've had to deal with the internet. We're going to continue talking about Tears of the Kingdom, but if you have questions about Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild or Zelda or Nintendo or anything gaming related that you would like to have answered, please comment them in the chat and we will answer them. And until then, we will continue talking about Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, and once again, I apologize to you about all of the internet issues. As long as I can see your head nodding, I know you're still alive.
Still here. I was looking at the chat.
So yeah, I guess we can start on E3 right now, because I imagine most of the questions will be about Zelda. So E3. So I don't know what happened. Discord or the internet again? Yes. So E3, that's what we're talking about. How do you feel about E3 disconnecting, or my internet's disconnecting? That's what's going on. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I always kind of dreamed about going to E3 one day, right?
Oh, you've never been?
Never been there. No. Yeah. So what's funny is that I'm now getting to a point where maybe I could have gone to E3, right? But now it's E3's dead, so that it's kind of like that dream is probably not gonna materialize. But I also understand that there will be events that will have some semblance to E3 a little bit. I went to PAX, that was cool. Had a good time there. But yeah, it is a little unfortunate having those live conferences, those big reveals, everything together. The industry being there, right? Because it's not just fans and and then tech companies, but you have like the developers and executives there. Like, there's a lot of conversations, a lot of things that go on behind closed doors, outside in public as well. Like, there's a lot to E3. Like, E3 was like the time every summer growing up, and now with E3 being gone, there's less of a reason to kind of for the big companies to kind of have their big event around then. Like, it was a situation where we could come to expect Nintendo to have like a presentation early June every time on a Tuesday. Now Nintendo's like, well, okay, since we don't have to hold ourselves to E3 standards, we could do it in July. We could do it in August. We could just not do it at all. Like that is possible. That said, I still think we're getting like a summer presentation because they need to make announcements. We don't know much after Tears of the Kingdom, but Pikmin. So it's still coming. We're still gonna get the directs. We're still gonna get those kinds of. The information will still come. It's just how we're gonna get that information. So it's a little unfortunate, but I think other good things will still come to pass. Just maybe not in the form of E3. Of course, there's always next year, right? Like, just because it's canceled this year doesn't mean it won't have another go at it next the year after. But definitely, this is a huge hit. It's a huge hit.
I agree. Everyone in the chat, please remember, if you have any questions that you want answered, I'm going to guess based off my internet, we have 2 or 3 that we can continue with, 2 or 3 questions. But until then, yes, I agree. It was amazing going in E3 2018, 2019. I got to meet a lot of people. It was really amazing. I loved meeting everyone, and I loved, we had a bunch of meetups with people that weren't in the YouTube or gaming industry or whatever. Just like fans of the channel, which I kind of hate saying because it makes me feel like, hello?
I'm here.
Wow, okay. That came back quicker than I thought it would. Okay, so in like 2019, we had people that were like fans of other content creators and fans of the Game Over Jesse channel that I was kind of embarrassed about because I don't like saying anyone's a fan of me, but that's why I like saying
viewership.
Yeah, viewership, but I personally like to say like friends, because if they leave nice comments and then there's like a like a conversation back and forth and we get to know each other. But peeps. Peeps. And there was a few people that hung out with at the time it was all of the original, I don't want to say original, it wasn't even the original, the main Zelda YouTube content creators leading up from Skyward Sword to Breath of the Wild. Hello?
I would do.
Yeah, okay, so I think we should just go ahead and end this, and maybe we can do something better next week. I apologize, but this just keeps happening.
It's the internet, man.
Okay.
People understand.
Yeah, but it makes me want to pull my hair out, but I'm already going bald, so I want to pull my hair out.
Keep what you have.
Yeah. So for everyone that's listening, to go ahead and end this, where could they find you on Twitter or Instagram or YouTube or anything that you have going on? Where could they find you to catch up with what you have going on and find out new videos that you have going?
I'm Andres Restart, right? If you search that, my main thing is YouTube. I make YouTube videos. I make a lot of Zelda videos. This entire week's been Zelda, and it's gonna be Zelda almost every day for a while. But I also talk about Nintendo in general, right? Like today I dropped a Metroid Prime 4 story. A little bird told me that Metroid Prime 4 is complete. So if you want more details on that, you can check out my channel. Beyond that, you can find me on Twitter as well. I'm there. You could find me on Instagram as well, Andres Restart. I don't really post there, really, ever. It's more of a personal thing. But if you want to follow me there, sure, go ahead. Sometimes I post pictures of my cat. So, yeah.
Funny thing that you mentioned your cat.
Yeah.
Like, I'll post stuff about, like, screenshots of, like, Zelda or, like, concept art and stuff like that from Zelda.
Yeah.
But then I'll post something of my dog, and it'll get, like, 10 times more likes and stuff.
I love animals.
Yeah. So it's like, as much as everyone that follows me loves Zelda, they love dogs 10 times more, apparently. Or animals in general. So I always thought that was funny. It's like, should I have just started like a dog YouTube channel or a Zelda YouTube channel?
Dog YouTube channel might have been taken off.
Definitely. But yeah, I'll post an update to the description for anyone who wants to come and check out any of your stuff. It'll have the links to Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube, Twitch, anything that you have, everything that you have. I'll post a link there, or all of the links. And everyone that wants to come and find me, everything was luckily enough to get everything Game Over Jessie. So at Game Over Jessie. But Andres, I want to ask you.
Yeah.
While it's still going on, have you seen the Tetris movie?
No.
Have you heard about it?
Yes.
I watched it earlier, and it was the best movie.
Really?
Yes, the best movie I've watched this entire year. It has this whole thing about I don't know how true it is. Like, whatever. I imagine they like amplified some of the drama up. But there's like a whole back and forth like 3, 4, 5, 10 times with the US, the USSR, and Japan, because it's all about a guy from America going to the USSR or Russia to get the rights for Tetris, which was made in the USSR, by someone who was working in the military, from what I understand, and trying to sell it to Japan. But he was living in Japan. But he was trying to get the rights for America and Japan, and it's like a whole thing, and it has, like, there's, again, from what I understand, there's people that live in, or not live in, but people that work for Nintendo now, like high up people in Nintendo that are in this movie. And it has like the president, it has people acting as the president of and the vice president of Nintendo, and Nintendo in Japan, as well as Nintendo of America, from like the late 1980s or like the last half of the 1980s, whenever Tetris came out. And it's like they even have like a conversation in it where it's like, are we going to package the Game Boy with Mario or Tetris? And it even has that whole discussion in it. And I was like messaging Geek and Daniel and Chablima and a bunch of other people, and I even posted on Twitter, and I was like, everyone needs to watch this movie, it's amazing. And I watched it like 2 hours before I came on the podcast. And again, I apologize for everything that happened during this. You're more than welcome to come on anytime next week or the week after, whenever you're available. I imagine whatever is going on this time, it'll be solved. I don't know if it's just updates or internet or whatever, but yes. But thank you for coming on, and thank you for everyone that watched. And if you want to watch or tune in for anything more from Andres Restart, you can go to his YouTube channel, which will be linked in the description below. So thank you.